Hey guys, welcome back to the Storm in a Teacup podcast, where exercise and bad commentary collide.
Whammy.
What's happening, Teacuppers?
The Human Torch was denied bail today. That was not one that I had pre-scripted, just so you know.
You're so clever.
Oh man.
If that's off the cuff, I'm a little scared about what you have on the cuff. So
Here's the listeners should be scared because we only did a 14-minute pre-show. That was like a PR pre-show for us.
It was quick.
It was quick, so we're going to be all over the place today.
That was like Forrest Long speed pre-show. Is what I'm hearing.
I've seen quicker.
I mean, if that's the foreplay.
Oh, jeez. The release is going to be so quick. So what's happening in the world right now? You guys are listening at home to the Storm in a Teacup, and Russia's invading Ukraine right now. Taylor, do you have anything historical to add to that? Any analyses?
The Crimea used to be part of Russia. Khrushchev gave it to the Ukraine when he was premier of Russia back in the day. I think it's going to be an ongoing sort of deal between those two countries, and I think the United States has nothing to gain by getting involved, to be perfectly honest.
So you don't think we should try to be 3-time World War champs?
Back to back to back.
I mean,
if we do this. Given the current political and economic climate and everything else, I think, plus there's not, like I said before, there's nothing to gain. I think initiating
I want the belt back.
with Russia is just dumb.
Are you talking about?
I want the belt. I want that belt wrapped around our waist, baby.
Who has the belt? Who stole the belt? Who had a world war without us when I wasn't looking? You're not even making any sense.
Dude, all I know is the belt's not here. I don't know where it went, but the belt ain't around my waist, so I don't know. I want it back.
You never had you don't have a belt because you stopped CrossFitting and you stopped eating dead-end nachos. That's why you lost your
That's bullcrap because
belt.
I'm going to dead end when I leave here.
Taylor, you're holding Forrest to unfair standards here. I mean, when has he ever been held within sense?
You're holding him to logic, and that's
Right.
where you fail.
It's got no place. It's
the
place
Twilight
in this
Zone,
podcast.
baby.
So, Taylor, how's the weather in Chicago?
Cold and bitter like my soul.
It's sunny, and it has to be 70 plus here. True or false, Forrest? Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna say
really a part of the podcast for us.
I'll give it to you.
Way
I'll
to
give you
be
the
part
over.
of the team.
He just looked out the window like he was going to divine the temperature by seeing how much sun was on the sidewalk.
Stick your tongue up on the window for us. That's how I always do it.
So Forrest and I are drinking Leinenkugel. SIBO has given up alcohol for Lent. Discuss.
Forrest, I mean,
There's nothing
Caleb,
to say.
I got to stay away from this one.
Caleb, are you Catholic?
I'll tell Caleb what I think about it when Lent is over.
I'm not Catholic. Yeah, I'm doing it.
He likes Lent.
Is this related to being pro Jesus, or is this more of a
It is.
general like, hey, I'm going to use Lent as a good. This is a good time for me to reflect.
But it's
and
not
cut
it's
out
n-
something.
It's not serious because you didn't put it on Facebook, Caleb.
Well, that's true.
You didn't Instagram a picture of yourself not drinking to really hammer.
I
it
can
home
remedy
for
that real
everyone.
quick, Tay. I'm sorry.
So the
Yeah.
podcast could go downhill quickly without SIBO guiding us from his inebriated state. But
That's not true because I can get twice as drunk.
Drinking for two.
so last weekend, the four of us, we were at the Arnold's.
Posted some videos about it. Check it out, YouTube.
Oh, what's YouTube?
It's.
Are you talking
this-
about RedTube?
Yep, it's just like that. Exactly like that.
Yeah, we were at the Arnold. We saw some major shenanigans go down. We're going to talk about some today.
Also, we saw some great lifts as well, so we should probably lead off with that. We should probably talk about that first.
I saw some good moves on the poles.
Yeah, buddy.
pole fitness.
Come into a gymnasium near you.
Grant, are
needs
you
a
going to be
pole.
adding a pole fitness class to Tuesday nights?
I actually have a meeting with the Knox County superintendent for K through 12. We're talking about bringing pole fitness into the K through 12 system.
I was impressed, though, that these were the first female athletes that I'd ever seen perform with less clothing on than Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet.
I would debate you on that, to be perfectly
Camille
honest.
LeBlanc-Bazinet is a saint.
14.2 video, all right? And I would debate you pretty hard.
it's splitting hairs, no doubt, but...
Like, I saw a lot of butt cheek on Camille, especially in the later rounds. And I don't know if that affected her chest to bar pull-ups, but there was a lot of booty hanging out of the booty shorts.
Do you think CrossFit with a capital C has any say in what they wear, other than like Reebok gear or something like that?
Absolutely. They have to.
Yeah. For the games, I mean, they give them all that gear, and they have to wear it during the games, correct?
Yeah, but I mean more of like sex sells. Like, don't wear a shirt, Camille. I want you in a sports bra and a thong.
I don't think that's anything CrossFit has to worry about. I mean, the men.
She does that herself, I'm sure.
Yeah, most men walk around shirtless. Most women walk around pantyless. So I mean, they really don't have to regulate that at all. I feel like.
Are you talking about the regulators? Mount up.
Every time you surprise me with a comment, I'm just going to drink today. So that's going to be my drinking.
Speaking of drink, we haven't mentioned Brandon Bergen's performance. Make sure you check up on him on the leaderboard, see how he's doing.
That's Bergen, Bergin. Don't misspell it.
I spoke with him earlier this week, and I don't know how he did today, but I think he said he was going to go for 250 reps. So good luck, Brandon, on that 250 number on 14.2.
You got this, bro.
If you redo it the day after you do it, that's your best chance of PRing, in my opinion.
Let's bring it back to the Arnold. We quickly got derailed.
We'll see how long we can stay with the Arnold. This time.
We'll see. Let's talk about the lifts. So we saw some awesome lifts, correct?
Well, let's start with the beginning of our day. We got up early. We did not have breakfast. I think that was actually Forrest's fault.
Yeah, we'll get breakfast downtown, said Forrest. We'll get coffee downtown, said Forrest.
You got coffee
downtown.
You got coffee downtown. We didn't get food
After
downtown.
I waited about an hour and a half and almost killed you 6 or 7 times.
Don't get a coffee that takes an hour and a half to make. Grant's coffee had to be poured over easy. Would you get over easy sunny side up coffee?
I had scrambled beans with the coffee grounds over easy.
Yep.
The best part about that to me was I was so desperate for caffeine, and Grant was like, "What is the longest preparation coffee that you could possibly make?" And she was like, "Oh, pour over coffee." Grant was like, "I'll have one of those."
I'll do 3 of those.
Take your time. Take your time. I don't want you to overdo it.
So we got coffee. We got into the Arnold Weightlifting Championship room, which for some reason they've held in the same room the past 3 years, and it has grossly outgrown that room. They need to move up, bigger and better kind of, I guess, place for that. But let's talk about, what do you have for us?
Now, how come CrossFit had this huge? I mean, honestly, I feel like there were more people probably watching pole fitness than CrossFit, and that's not a joke at all. Because we went to the CrossFit area, and I mean, there was maybe
and
there was like 50, 60 people in there.
Maybe there's more people doing the workout than sitting in the bleachers.
So this is going to be really tenuous, but see if you can build off of it. They talk about colony collapse disorder with bees, which Forrest got to learn about on the trip to Columbus. But they talk about hold on, let me finish. They talk about colony collapse disorder, CCD, being a precursor to what maybe is happening in the world today. Maybe something environmentally is happening. Do you think we are seeing the beginning of the end of fitness because there weren't a lot of people in the CrossFit room at the Arnold's? Go.
No.
Absolutely. CrossFit is on the way out. I mean, it's going to implode, and we're all going to have to go back to bench press and curls. I mean, it's just in the books.
I've already beat you.
Now, that being said, when we went to the powerlifting area, that crowd was packed. Now, granted, we were in the room where all the little minions are trying to get their free samples of chocolate douchebag whey protein or whatever, but the seating area was packed there.
Wait, back up.
Don't call me out. Don't even call me out.
Back up 1 second.
If somebody sticks a free...
Before you do all over the people getting free supplements, one, I think Forrest had about 10 free supplements. Two, when I told him that I saw Jay Cutler, the bodybuilder, he lost his freaking mind and made us go back and find him just so he could see him standing there signing autographs. Didn't even wait in line to go talk to the guy. Just wanted to walk by and see him. So don't make fun of the bodybuilder guys looking for free supplements here, Forrest.
I did not get free supplements. I had like 10 shots of protein. I was wearing a shirt that said Smoking Jay Cutler on it. Why would I not go see him?
No. That was when we went in there that day, you were wearing Maxie's sorority shirt.
The Kappa Delta sorority shirt.
That was...
So, listen, we get into the weightlifting room, and we're the first people there. We grab our front row seats, just like we've done for the past 3 years. And who comes over to talk to us? None other than the announcer for the weightlifting championships. And if you'll remember on a previous episode, we discussed the horrible announcing job that was done at the American Open. He was that guy, and he said to us, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything about weightlifting, but I announced the American Open," and we just looked at each other like, "Oh God." So we explained the rules of weightlifting to the announcer, and we need to position ourselves so maybe at nationals we can announce the lifts.
Yeah.
Let's talk to Ziggy. Let's talk to Ziggy about that. Maybe he's got some sway.
Caleb can talk to Ziggy. Caleb met Ziggy. He spoke with him.
We're best friends, you could say. Really, that guy, he was, "Hey, guys, tell me the rundown here. Who should I be looking for today?" And we're like, "Well, you're going to be looking at everybody at least 6 times, probably, except for Kendrick Ferris."
Hey-o.
Oh.
But, yeah, it was, he didn't care about it. He was like, "I don't know what I'm talking about up here. You guys tell me what I should be looking for."
Hey, also,
Who are the good lifters?
He got to see Jared Anderton lift twice, so I guess they made up for it there. Since they knew Kendrick wasn't going to take a lift, they're like, "Jared, you get 1+ lift," because we don't know how to keep time properly.
Matter and energy can neither be created nor destroyed, Forrest.
Who said that?
I think that was
That's
Kendrick
actually
Ferris.
a law. I think
Okay.
actually a law of science. Forrest, you're a pharmacist. You should know that.
And we let Kendrick Ferris write laws of science?
So the day started off with, what did it start off with? Now,
Started out with women.
With the women's session.
Actually, it was a mixed men.
That's right,
it
because
was a mixed men.
it was mixed men and then women. It was 2 sessions of women, and that was when Forrest and Taylor were Instagramming and Facebooking all of the women lifters. I just want Maxie and Jess to hear that. Oops.
I didn't post anything to Instagram until I got home to Chicago from Columbus because I didn't have an Instagram until over the weekend. Everyone made fun of me constantly for not having an Instagram. They're like, "Man, this podcast is never going to take off if you don't have an Instagram, man."
I will say that
exactly what you sounded like by
Yep.
that.
That was a fair impression.
the podcast has taken off since the Arnolds, and I think it is solely because Forrest and Taylor got Instagram accounts and started, and Forrest killed the YouTube channel. You guys need to check out our YouTube channel, The Storm in a Teacup, on YouTube. Check out all the lifts that we saw. So let's talk about those lifts.
I would just like to thank my second battery real quick. As much mocking as it got while we were there, thank you for that second battery.
Forrest, if you don't know Forrest Long, he wears a fanny pack full of extra batteries for his elite phone that he always brags about. He's always prepared.
He's got a
for a
Samsung
big
2S.
lift. Yeah. He looks like an Asian person at Disney World, but hey, it came in handy.
But those Asian people at Disney World can do a 225.
That's
Isabel.
what I was exactly.
I think you mean 225 Isabel.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Isn't that what he said?
Oh, I thought you said clean and jerk. My bad.
Well, they could probably do that too.
Okay, so let's talk about what everyone wants to know about from the Arnolds, and that was the Pan Am the international qualifiers, Pan Am qualifiers. Caleb, you want to take me through some of the lifts, some of the outstanding performances of that first session?
Outstanding performances from the men. James Tatum PR'd his competition snatch and clean and jerk
On his first attempts.
Yeah, he opened with. Well, I don't think I don't think he did with his snatch. He hit 141 and then 146, and then he opened with 171. I think he only made 3 out of 6 lifts, but he still, had a great day. Still proved himself as one of the most up-and-coming lifters in all of America, and especially in the 77 class. So that was really exciting to watch. Let's see, Kendrick Ferris, which we can talk about a little bit more. I don't want to get too hung up on just like the granular elements of the weightlifting. Kendrick Ferris was the most impressive lifter from the USA side. He came out, smoked 5 out of his 6 lifts. None of them looked hard at all. I think the only reason he came out and hit his last lift was because there was a little bit of tension between the lifters and the USAW referees with the newly implemented rule of not guiding the bar down in front of you gently and spiking the bar. But he added 1 kilo to his – he had to follow himself. He added 1 kilo to the bar, came out and just made it look easy again. But he went 162, 199, and it was piss easy.
I would
say
awesome.
Too,
his snatches looked the easiest. Like that, they looked the easiest I've seen him snatch. I mean, he was completely dialed in for that, and he looked really, really good on the snatches. I mean, that's the best I've seen him snatch. So
if he
that was impressive for sure.
If he said that he'd hit 170 plus in training, I'd be like, I have no doubt. That's how easy he made that 162 look. Like I can't believe that he snatched 162 that easily.
Yeah. So that was really fun to watch, and not to mention his Captain America singlet, which definitely pushed the boundaries of what singlets can look like. I hope next time he has a full Mr. Goodbody outfit that he wears.
Do you think he got his singlet from the same people who made those speed skating outfits for the U.S. team in Sochi because they were similar? ?
That was Under Armour, and no, because everybody on the team hated those outfits.
Ah, all right. Well, I didn't know if it was like a cast-off thing, and he just like added some color. I don't know.
I think he I think he went to the people who make Camille's wadding outfits, and had them make that.
Oh, Booty Shorts Inc. Got it.
So yeah, there were a few other lifts that were, I would say weren't mentioning. Travis,
Who surprised you the most, or who kind of stole the show? Who was your favorite?
Kendrick Ferris did. I mean, hands down.
You really? I mean, but did you not kind of expect that out of him? I mean, even though he did snatch really well,
he's the best lifter there. I mean, he's got the highest Sinclair.
Second best.
Well,
second best.
American lifter. There's a guy from the Polish team that came and beat his Sinclair by like 0.01 or something like that. But, I mean, Kendrick wasn't going for big lifts. He hit 198, piss easy. 199, piss easy. I think 199's like 12 kilos off of his best competition clean and jerk, and he didn't even take his 6th lift. Like he looked like the weights did not look challenging. So he wasn't trying to make a statement, and if he was, the statement was, I'm coming out and I'm just making piss easy lifts just to make the Pan Am team, and I'm not gonna go for super heavy weights because I got a bigger end goal in mind.
I think a lot of people kind of had that mentality, even when you look at some of the other lifters like Morgan Kings. Nobody was going for like a PR, is what I should say. It seems like everybody. I don't know. I mean, I guess Jon North went for not a PR, but it was heavy for where his training's been. Tatum came out kind of heavy, but Cooper wasn't lifting like max weights based on what he's done in competition. He's like 5 kilos under what he's gone for in snatch. He went for that 198. Granted, he was going for the win at Nationals, but went for a bit less than that. I didn't see anybody like really pushing their competition.
Well, they weren't going for maybe a competition PR in one specific lift, but they were going for a really high total compared to what they normally hit. Like Travis Cooper, it's very rare that he hits more than 150 in competition. I don't think he ever has. And his last lift was at 150, and arguably he made the lift. He got 2 red lights, so he didn't make the lift. And then clean and jerk, he finished at 192. I mean, those are really heavy lifts for him. So
did he make that jerk? I thought he only cleaned it.
No, he didn't make. He didn't make.
Yeah, he missed that one.
He didn't make 192.
What Caleb was saying is that he went for it.
Yeah, he was going for it.
I kind of feel like some of the people are starting to learn the game now, though. Like, yeah, you can hit these numbers early, but then everybody knows what they need to do to beat you to get on the team. I feel like a lot of lifters now are being a little bit more intelligent and saying like, maybe I can hit this at nationals and not give people as much time to beat what my total is going to be. And maybe there's a bit of gamesmanship there.
Grant, do you think Forrest knows what he's talking about at all?
No, I mean, what I'm saying is that I think people cycle their training to maybe not PR so early. Granted,
Right,
you can.
right.
You can go to the American Open and say like, this is me at my best. Beat it if you want to be on the team. But I think maybe there could be a little gamesmanship.
Yeah, what you said there was fundamentally different than what you said right before it.
Okay,
but I would
sorry.
agree with the latter statement.
Sorry.
Well, I think
Caleb, I
too,
expect you to take that out of my recording. Just mute me.
I think too, you have to consider when you look at the weights that people went for. I think you have to consider the fact that like there are a lot of lifters, a lot of the top American lifters in certain weight classes that weren't there. They were out in California for that big meet that was going on out there. I guess is that this weekend?
It is. It's this weekend. It's happening
The hassle-free?
right now. Yeah, hassle-free.
Yeah. So like, Ian Wilson wasn't there. Jenny Arthur, some of the top women in the
D'Angelo.
heavier weight classes. Yeah, Sorio wasn't there. I mean, in a larger sense, I mean, I think most of the lifters probably thought to themselves, well, I don't need to really push it. I mean, like Travis Cooper is a good example. He didn't really have too much like direct competition, if you will. Like he didn't have to go for that one, like really throw it all out there and go for that 198, like he did at nationals. So I mean, you have to look at the situation too, and there's other big meets that aren't too far down the road, and you don't want to be trying to hit all your PRs right now.
I would kind of take you on that a little bit in that. I mean, this meet, everyone knew going into it, it's a Sinclair-based meet, and there's big money on the line. I mean, it was $4,000, right, for top male and top female lifter. Like, that's a good chunk of change for 6 lifts. I think Cooper underperformed, honestly. I mean, he maybe it's kind of what Forrest is saying. He's not, they're not peaking for the Arnolds because that's not maybe the most important. But let's think about this. Maybe it is the most important because this was the international qualifier, and nationals isn't until July. So I don't know. I think he just underperformed. I think he was one of the few, maybe not one of the few, but he definitely left a little bit to be desired for me, I think.
Yeah, well, it should be said that his snatch was very iffy. Like it could have just as easily been called a good lift as a no lift.
I've watching the judges, for 15 hours on Saturday. I feel like that should have been a good lift compared to how they
Wait,
were
what,
judging.
Caleb? What?
Oh yeah.
Now, if those judges that are American Open how you feel about Louis there, man? Is he gonna...
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well, hey, let's not spend too much time talking about this. There was some
the drama.
There were some really good lifts in the international qualifier section, so it was exciting to see the MD USA lifters lift there and qualify and put their all on the line. But the guys session afterwards was a little bit more
entertaining,
interesting, and So, Forrest, I know this one is close to your heart because you're an Attitude Nation lover. So
the biggest.
God, you guys are so stupid.
So tell us about what happened with Mr. North. His first meet back.
Tell us who the best weightlifting coach in America is as well.
It's Grant Scalf, followed closely by Travis Mash.
Hashtag Scalf trained.
No, Caleb was right. The second session was there's interesting, entertaining, comical. There's a couple more words that could be used to describe that. But this was Jon North's first competition back. So everybody's kind of looking at him, seeing what he was going to do, how he was going to act. And he did not fail to meet all the expectations. I mean, True or false? He simulated cutting his wrist open and pouring his blood on the barbell. Yeah, with his usual antics like that, he played his violin, he cut his wrist, and
skeletons, man.
Yeah, he's
dark orchestra, bro.
Innumerable times.
So let me ask you guys a question. Let's talk about his lifts before we get to the drama. Were you guys impressed? Like he went 5 out of 6. He hit 145, 150, 155 snatch. Then he missed his first clean and jerk as opener at 175. Then he made it, and then he hit 180. What do you guys think about that?
I was impressed, to be honest.
I was too. I didn't think that. I mean, he looked really consistent, and I feel like he probably had another 8 to 10 kilos in him if he would have tried it. If he would have made that first attempt on the clean and jerk.
Yeah,
I don't want to say impressed because we've seen some of the things that he can do that he's done before. So I want to say impressed.
Impressed for where he is coming from right now is what I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, he hit 155 cold or whatever.
150, I think.
150 cold the week of the competition, like earlier that week. So to be able to just walk in and do that cold and then walk into it, I mean, to be able to consistently hit such high numbers, yeah, that's good job. Good job, John. I'll say that. But
you're letting me down so much right now.
Because I'm not as big of an addict.
Sitting there.
Just because I said I liked Rabbit, who I think is a phenomenal lifter, and I think he has a lot of passion. Yeah, he bombed out in the clean and jerk, which was kind of sad. But because I like Rabbit, I am officially Attitude Nation 100%. I'm going to get a Shankle and
Man,
North
you've
tattoo.
got Attitude Nation tattooed on your back. I've seen it. Don't deny it.
You should see where my Shankle tattoo is.
Let me ask Taylor this. Well, okay,
God.
Jon North's lifts.
I know
Jon North's
but go ahead.
lifts. So they were impressive for Caleb and I, for where North is coming from right now in his training and his time off and all that. And then Forrest, I guess you gave the golf clap to North, but you said
gave him a gold star.
Gold star to North, but a B mine Valentine to Rabbit. It sounds like. Yeah. Okay. So Taylor, if Jon North is the Putin of the Arnolds, who is the Yanukovych?
The Yanukovych?
The Ukrainian.
It would be the old guy judge who was sitting right in front of us, who was completely flustered and had no power to do anything about it. That would be Yanukovych.
Well, no, the female was the one who was trolling the most because she was the one, like, if you watch my videos, she was the one earlier who had said, like, I went to them in the warm-up area and told them not to slam the bar.
Yeah,
like, the
but
guy,
she didn't actually do anything. He was the one in charge. He was the one in charge who just stood there impotently at the end of the day. He was like, oh, I'm going to go say something.
Because Taylor, she's a
just sat
woman.
back
She
down.
can't do anything. If a woman comes up
Yeah,
and
then
tells...
she can't be Yanukovych then, because she's a woman. Exactly. You just made my point for me. Thank you.
But no, if a woman comes up and says something to Jon North, what's he going to do? He's going to pull a Jeremy Fowler and just like...
That's what he did anyway. Men told him, and he did the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, Forrest. Don't be sexist, man.
I think that there's a misunderstanding as to what Yanukovych was doing. I mean, he was in Putin's pocket. He accepted the $14 billion bribe, and now he's probably in Moscow right now. So I feel like it can't be the judge.
It has to be the judge, because the judge allowed him to come into that weightlifting meet in the first
That's
place.
true.
but
He was complicit.
Okay.
He accepted the bribe of Attitude Nation. We're going to get a whole shit ton of people and lifters in here, and it's going to be exciting, and it'll be good for the sport.
Yeah. I mean,
and then in return, Jon North slammed that bar about a dozen times. And
How many lifts did he have? I can't remember.
About a dozen. I don't know.
Listen,
I think if he wanted to take 6 more lifts, do you think they could have done anything about it? I don't think so.
Listen, I don't know who Jankovic is. I don't know if he's on the Russian hockey team or who he was with.
Isn't Jankovic the tennis player?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I think he's the guy who won Wimbledon. He stole that from Federer. But it was comical. You have to give him that. He put on a show. That's what people... Nobody came to... Jon North could have snatched 170 and people would have been like, whatever. They came there to watch him slam the barbell, say, in your face, USAW, and get the fudge out and be in some pictures with them.
Whenever we were sitting, we were within arm's reach from the head referee, from where our seats were, and to be able to witness all kind of the quote-unquote backdoor or side room conversations between them.
It's definitely,
and the
backdoor is definitely something else.
Yeah,
backdoor is
and then like the Columbus weightlifting, like since Columbus Weightlifting Club like puts on this meet, they were having a lot of side conversations, And to be able to listen in on all of those and kind of eavesdrop and listen to what they're saying, the whole room kind of got the picture. Everyone knew what was going on, and to be able to feel the
awkward tension.
Yeah, it was like, I think Taylor said, it feels like daddy hit mommy at the dinner table. That's exactly what it felt like, and that is what made it fun. To Forrest's point, it wasn't about the lifting, it was about Jon North is back, and it's not so much that he's the most competitive 94, it's that he's back to shake things up and, you know, stir up the hornet's nest a little bit and make this less dry. And I feel like it kind of rubbed off on a few of the other lifters. It rubbed off on Kevin Cornell. He got out there and was kicking stuff around. It rubbed off on Jared Ennerton, who is another former Jon North teammate. And so I feel like it changed the energy of the room so much. And I think that is the role of Jon North. He lifts really heavyweight, no doubt. Don't get me wrong. But his role is a personality more than it is a really, really competitive lifter.
Even the European lifters were getting into it. Like they were getting stoked.
Yeah.
Let me ask. Hey Taylor,
whoa.
Should we talk about some of the conversations? We were there, and I feel like this is kind of juicy material. Maybe people don't know some of these conversations kind of happen.
Put it in a nutshell for us. We don't need to talk about it for
wait a minute.
10 minutes.
Yeah, go ahead, Taylor.
Before we go, would you classify Caleb? Would you classify Jon North as the Christmas Abbott of Olympic weightlifting then?
No, because he's legitimate. He was a national champion. Like
she's a games athlete, man. She's been on NASCAR.
She was a regionals team games athlete.
If you have never seen Christmas Abbott change a tire, you are missing out, my friend. She can move. That's all I'm going to say.
What happens first? Christmas Abbott. When goes Christmas Abbott goes to the games as an individual athlete, or Danica Patrick wins a NASCAR race. Which happens first?
I think Danica Patrick has won a NASCAR race.
No, she has not.
No.
Or did she win a Formula 3 or something?
Yeah. How do you
even Formula 1?
How do you know about Formula 3, but you don't know Danica Patrick has never won a race? Like,
I don't know. I just heard that somewhere. Maybe it was from whenever me and Christmas Abbott were talking the other week.
I don't even know if we want to go down this.
We don't. Absolutely not.
Okay, Forrest is going to recap the juicy conversation.
I don't want to recap all the juicy conversations, but sitting as close as we were.
But I'm going to anyway.
We were right behind the judges, and in between Jon's lift, there was a female judge who had stated, like, she went into the room, warned Jon, like, if he slams the barbell one time, he's gone. 5 bar slams later, Jon was still in it. There was also some talk with the guy who is in charge of Columbus weightlifting. I have no idea what his name is. I don't really
Mark Canella.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to be the guy to kick out of a weightlifting competition, but I'll be the one to do it if I have to.
And that's exactly what he said. And it was just kind of ridiculous because you just kind of, I guess, hearing those things kind of makes me understand why Jon and maybe some of the other athletes get so mad. Like, that's just the dumbest thing I've ever heard, to want to kick somebody out of weightlifting meet for slamming the bar. Seriously, grow up.
So, Grant Scalf, I'll ask you this question. This is a newly implemented rule into USA weightlifting rule book. You can't just drop the bar from overhead. You have to guide it in front of you below the shoulders.
Can we just call it the Jon North rule?
We can call it
that. No, because that's what it is. It's no spiking the barbell. Because plenty of lifters just dropped it. Like, they would have the weight overhead and be like, oops, and just drop it. But if you spike that barbell, that's what they get pissed about.
It's the Jon North rule. Let's be honest.
It's the Jon North / Kendrick Ferris rule.
So do you, Grant Scalf, the one person who didn't make a comment there.
I just wanted to clarify.
You wanted to clarify. You tried to answer my question before I finished.
No, I was clarifying because.
So that obviously USAW knows Jon North was coming back to the sport. He signed up for the meet. Do you think that this was kind of a preemptive move to kind of take the wind out of his sails?
I think so. I think it's sad, and here's why it's sad, because kind of in a roundabout way, I'm going to be agreeing with Forrest from a couple episodes ago.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It is sad because you have these American lifters that the governing body for the United States, USA Weightlifting has to create this rule because we have some petulance in Jon North and some other lifters that follow the Attitude Nation kind of ilk, and they're slamming these bars at what Forrest correctly said before are meaningless weights. And I'm talking about the people that are actually lifting meaningless weights. If you set an American record, you can throw the bar off of the whole entire platform for all I care. It's a no lift, but you can do that. So I think that USAW snuck it in there for Jon North, more or less. I think they're trying to assert power and try to regain power back from the Vladimir Putin of USAW, which is Jon North. And Jon North is kind of a little bit of a punk, and he's not willing to give that power up. I mean, rules is rules, as Forrest said. Just follow them. Like, it sucks, it's stupid, but... And then also to be spineless as the USAW was and not to do anything about it. I don't know. It just sends mixed signals. Like, it was just a whole kind of just mess. I don't know.
Debacle,
It was.
Let me ask you this, guys. Ultimately, though, doesn't it ultimately work in Jon North's favor? Now, give me a second on this. That they pass this rule, because he's going to continue spiking the bar whenever he wants, and they are not going to enforce it, because kicking Jon North, who's the big draw, going to be the big draw at a lot of these meets, out of a weightlifting competition because he spikes the bar, they're never going to do it. There'd be a huge backlash. So they're never going to enforce it, and on top of it, he gets the cachet now of being the guy who's like a real rebel. He's going into every meet and breaking this rule that's on the rule books every time. Before, he was just annoying. Now he's actually breaking one of the rules and getting away with it every meet. So in the end, by passing this rule, I think they're just drawing more attention to the stuff that he does, and they're creating more conflict. And that's just going to draw more people in. I mean, that's just going to be to Jon North's benefit. So that's my take on it.
I will actually challenge you, Taylor, and I could be way wrong. He may spike the bar for another 20 years and never have anything said to him. But I think that
they said stuff, but saying stuff isn't enforcing the rule.
Well, no, I think they're going to throw him out eventually. Like, this was the first competition, the first major competition after this rule, and I think that USAW is probably pretty pissed that he did not get thrown out. And I mean, when
he gets kicked out, that will give him even more attention.
He's a martyr.
Absolutely. But do you honestly think that USAW cares? I mean, they're not getting paid. Did you pay anything to sit front row?
Okay, so with this happening, I'm going to take your idea and push the train a little further down the tracks for us. So Jon North gets kicked out of these competitions. He gets kicked out. It raises drama. People start going back to the old days of USAW 5-6 years ago, where there was 30 people at the American Open, and all of a sudden, what does Jon North do? He opens up his own competitions where there's chicken wire around the lifting platforms. They're coming out like they're in wrestling suits from the WWF. It's
basically like it's the movie Roadhouse, but there's an Olympic lifting.
Exactly, and this is kind of how I imagine it. It's like they're like lifters versus lifters. They're looking at each other in the eye. There are two platforms. There's like, Twisted Sister playing in the background, and they're just eyeballing each down. There's like a minute of stare down, like 94 lifter versus 94 lifter. They're just looking at each other, and it's like the stare down. People are screaming, throwing beer bottles at the chicken wire. It's breaking. They're getting smashed. And then,
there's a biker tattooing people in the corner.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden they have like 15 seconds. They have 15 seconds to lift, and the platforms are facing each other like 10 feet away, and they have to snatch right in each other's faces. How sick would that be? Jon North weightlifting meet 2016
meets Thunderdome.
Now the person who like loses the lift, is the door like does the platform open up and they fall into it? Like this? Because if they do that, I'm buying a ticket.
They fall into the cave in Star Wars that Luke Skywalker
had to. Shoot, you went there. Now we're not going to talk Star Wars, but I love your idea, Caleb. Jon North probably doesn't have that thought of yet. Get on it.
Hey, Jon North, I couldn't pull it off myself. I got to have Jon North's credentials. I mean, his persona and his clout.
I've seen you spike a bar.
Hey, when Jon North when Jon North listens to this podcast and hears this idea, he can contact Caleb. Caleb will just do the sales side of this thing.
I'm the best salesman this side of the Mississippi River. All right, so we've covered the Jon North versus USAW thing. I think it's fair to say that it is Jon North versus the USAW at this point, but it kind of makes for interesting things. It'll be fun to see their next moves.
Let's be honest. It's a tag team match. He's got Kendrick in there. Kendrick wants to be tagged in, but John's trying to do it all.
They are buddies, even though some people kind of pit them against each other. We saw some water cooler talk between the two of them. They were chit-chatting and, joking with each other. So, they're in it together for sure.
It's a small community. I think they're all friends. I mean, you know what I mean?
It's like us.
They were chummy. I just want you to know that I had visions as Caleb was explaining all that. I had visions of obviously the when Skywalker is at Jabba the Hutt and he drops into the pit with the Rancor and then puts the spike in his mouth. Jon North in 30 years is going to be Jabba the Hutt. And George Long is going to come in front of Jabba the Hutt holding a thermonuclear device.
Jessica North is in
Princess Leia.
Chained up.
And do you think the head referee from USAW is going to be frozen and whatever that's it's going to be on the wall?
I believe the material is carbonite, Caleb.
Carbonite. I wanted to say adamantium, but I know that's Wolverine's claws.
Those are respectively the 67th and 131st elements, Caleb.
Oh,
just so you know.
Apologies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk. We did North versus the USAW, which I did want to ask Taylor. Is North kind of since they're not, so you said that this is going to benefit North in the end, which I would agree. The rule does not benefit him, though. It is them not enforcing the rule that benefits him, and that's kind of like North Korea firing missiles into the Sea of Japan. True or false?
Exactly. I'll leave it at that.
All right, yeah. Let's move on.
We're not going to run down that
Taylor's
street.
historical referencing abilities. He can draw no further parallels.
Wait,
Speaking of parallels, the 38th.
What parallel are we talking about?
Oh,
The 38th parallel? Is that what we're talking about?
Oh, man, the DMZ. Okay, so let's talk about what everyone in the world wants to talk about, and that's Klokov. Let's talk about Dmitry Klokov doing the 225 Isabel, which we discussed on episode 4. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Well, we discussed Rich Froning doing the 225 Isabel.
Right.
And then Klokov listened to our podcast.
Yeah.
And then how many people in the world can do 225 Isabel, which is a lot,
Right.
by the way.
2%. That's right.
Yep.
It was 1%.
Okay, 1%. 7 million.
And every week for the rest of your life, somebody's going to release a 225 Isabel video on YouTube.
So let's give a brief rundown. Last weekend while we were at the Arnold and we had way too much time on our hands in between sessions, we were obviously on Instagram and all that good stuff. And we noticed that Dmitry Klokov on, I believe, Thursday or Friday had done the 225 Isabel full snatches just like Rich did and beat him by, 30 seconds or something like that. And he... no doubt
immediately posted a video.
Yeah, no doubt he's a better weightlifter than Rich because he's one of the best in the sport at the time. But he immediately took to Instagram and Facebook and just trolled the piss out of Rich by, his brand. It's called Winner. And
Which, by the way, if anyone out there finds the actual store where you can buy Team Winner clothing, I've been looking for those knee-length tight sweatpants that he wears.
Yes.
They're like sweatpant capris. I want those really bad, and I haven't been I've done so many searches trying to find this thing, and I can't find it. So
Taylor's
if you're
not
Russian and you know the store, if I have to get some rubles, whatever, let me know.
Taylor isn't the greatest on the interwebs, so if anyone could throw him a bone on how to use search engines or anything of that nature.
Hey, search engines I got, all right?
Listen,
this whole podcasting thing, a bit of a stretch, but search engines I got.
I know Taylor, and Taylor doesn't have any trouble getting a bone thrown at him. Taylor, just to let you know, I am still I'm still looking for ASICs for you, buddy. The Asian marketplace right now is gone to hell, and
the yen is dropping. So
yeah, well, they're all busy doing 225 Isabels.
That's true. They heard the
Industry.
podcast and they challenged the Grand Scalp.
Industry is falling behind.
You guys interrupted me, you son of a bitch. So Klokov is trolling Rich. He has he pick stitched a picture of Rich and himself, and it's it has Rich doing it, it has him doing it, and then the different times, and then it says,
and they're both shirtless, by the way.
Yeah, and it says defeated team winner. He beat him by 30 seconds, and we're getting a big kick out of it. And so, what do you guys think about that? I mean, it's an obvious kind of swift kick to the midsection by old Klokov. So, I mean, my question is, has Klokov never seen Rocky IV? I mean, America always wins in the end.
Did Rocky use
your thoughts on that?
Did Rocky use CrossFit to beat?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. It was early CrossFit.
Remember, he was training in the Himalayas.
Siberia.
My first thought is big whoop. So you can do 225, Isabel. Can you go and sign up for the Open when you're done? Because that, my friend, is the hard part. And Rich did that, and you didn't do it, Klokov. So don't be a bitch. Go do it again and sign up for the Open when you're done next time.
And your second thought is, this is the internet's version of the Cold War, Russia versus USA.
Mm-hmm. No, I was honestly, my second thought was, how am I going to get that beer out of your bag over there? It's more than an arm's reach away, so I need your help.
Which leads to a better question, Grant, which is, can we somehow end the crisis in the Crimea with Rich and Klokov going head to head on 225 Isabel?
We both send our champions, America's champion Rich Froning Jr., Russia's champion Dmitry Klokov, and we've end this once and for all. They start doing the 225 Isabel, and out of nowhere, South Korea's 220 champion comes out and just smokes them.
So here's a question: who do you think wins? Rich did it for CrossFit HQ video, and obviously Klokov saw that and was like, all right, I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to try to beat him. If they're going head to head right now, they've both done it once. Who wins?
Nobody, because Wu Zhaozhan jumps in and is like, new challenger, and then just roasts them both.
This isn't Street Fighter, Forrest. Get out of here.
So the loser is getting thrown in the great pit of Carcoon, the Sarlacc, on with Jabba the Hutt. Yeah, Forrest has got me.
You had to say Sarlacc.
Yeah, that's actually a great question. And what's interesting? This was. I would love for Rich to have a repost or a rebuttal, if you will.
Repost?
Yes, a repost, not a repost.
Syllableize that.
Because 225, that's a 100 kilo snatch. It's, 101 and a half, I guess. But that's not an easy snatch, and this is a great time for us, everyone that likes to comment on this, CrossFitters aren't any good, they're just average at weightlifting, they're just average at gymnastics, all these other things. Sure, CrossFit is a little bit weightlifting biased, or has been for the past few years, but this would open up a great commentary if Rich came back with a video. I think it would be awesome. Do you think Rich could beat Klokov?
I do.
No.
I do. Yeah.
Here's what I would like to see, actually.
When you open this up to power, are we saying full squat snatches all the way? I hate to use squat snatches, but for the CrossFitters out there,
it's part of your common vernacular. So
when speaking to CrossFitters, I have to say full squat snatches
in the WOD, doing a full squat snatch in the WOD.
But are we gonna? Does it have to be that, or can we power snatch? Because if we
snatches.
But the real workout is not full snatches.
That's what they did. Both of them did that. That is.
But
what we're talking
I know,
about.
but I'm saying if we make this true CrossFit style, go by kind of the standard, which could be power snatches, muscle snatches, whatever you.
We're
can
talking about full snatches.
Okay, then I gotta give it to Klokov. Maybe I'm by myself on this one, but Rich does have a very strong overhead squat, so maybe he could. It's close. 30 seconds is something that
I think
that he could.
I think the more interesting would be if you got all of Klokov and his minions. Let's say Plovnikov and Ilya Ilin. Let's take all three of those guys, and then get Rich, Ben Smith, and let's call it what's that bearded guy from Canada? What's his name?
Lucas Parker.
Let's say we get those three together, and we go do a 3-on-3. and like
A menage?
best average. Best average time out of the 3 wins. Who do you think
Menage
takes it?
Isabel?
Not even close. Not even close. The lifters.
You sure?
Yeah, I will weigh.
Illin's
whatever
a
the bet is.
vegetarian now, man. He has no gas tank.
Dude.
Like, let's.
He can snatch more with his cock than Lucas Park. I'm sorry, it's just not a competition.
Yeah, but so can Kendrick Ferris, and he didn't do so hot on the regular Isabel.
Oh, we're
Am I
going
right?
back to this.
Here
one.
we go. God.
Hey, all right. Well, hey, before we go there, here's a maybe a better question. Do you think that Klokov could beat Rich in any kind of CrossFit-esque style workout without a barbell included?
No. Wait a minute. Well, what if it was simply like row of 500 meters? Do you think that his gas tank could go like something stupid? Just I really don't think he could, but I don't know. You could do something stupid like that. And so.
No, 80 seconds of work I think would demolish Dmitry Klokov.
I'm pretty much in agreement.
I'm sure he could make
537. So he,
he did 1 rep every 6 seconds or whatever. But I mean, to put him on an erg like that, like legitimately, he makes the monitor say maybe 110, maybe 108 for some of his splits. But I bet he really trails off. Forrest, you might even have a chance of beating him in a 500-meter sprint.
Why would you put me in that spot? Why not say Caleb's name?
You might even be able to jump off and bust out a couple of 135-pound snatches.
I couldn't even beat him at handstand push-ups because the SOB sat there and did like this deficit handstand push-ups. So I got nothing.
So you guys don't think that Klokov could beat Rich in anything without a barbell included?
I mean, I'm running through the.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
Well, okay. I mean, you could get really silly and say like swing a 90-kilogram kettlebell for max reps or something.
For
Like
3 reps.
Yeah,
Something
like-
ridiculous.
Or you could do like I think that one area he might win is if they had like max 5 broad jumps for max distance in there or something like that. I mean, he's so explosive.
Yeah.
But I
Max
don't know.
Vertical leap.
max keg
Yeah.
toss, like overhead, like hitting how high?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
I started
Why not?
thinking this is the best thing. The first workout besides the row that I thought of was the clean and toss from Garage Games. I was like, I really started thinking. I was like, well, Caleb said barbell, but I mean, like, that's such a stupid workout. Like, could somebody pull some like kettlebell toss style workout? And
No, remember in the scale division they did didn't they just do plates?
A plate. They picked up a plate. In
I
the
forgot.
mud, they just picked up a bumper plate and they picked it up and they threw it as far as they could, and they were just like trying to roll it. It was such a freaking
Unknown and unknowable, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that workout was made up by an unknowable person. Good God.
Okay, so let's do this. The Storm in a Teacup is going to email Rich Froning, and we'll copy the Jacked and Tan team on this, since we have a little bit of clout with Rich, since we've known him for a good bit now, since I guess 2010.
Are you name dropping
You're-
again?
he-
Is this
yeah,
like
he's-
the whole
Yep.
games thing?
I am.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's been
I was.
been beating that ass to go to the games for 2 years in a row, or 1 year in a row at least.
That's right.
1 year in a row.
1 years in a row. So we'll email Rich and we will ask him politely to have a repost for Dimitri, and see if he'll do it. Maybe we'll say, hey Rich, we'll drive the hour over to Cookeville, we'll film it, we'll record our episode that day, we'll get you on the podcast, and we'll see what happens.
And maybe we could have some of Rich's minions do it too, because I feel like his house has become like a halfway house for CrossFitters on the up
Hobart's
and up.
there. I mean, do you think like you go to his house, like you walk
It's
in,
like
it's a regular house, but you go down in the basement and there's like Matt Chan's bunk, and then like James Hobart's bunk, and Ben Smith, like they all have their own little bunks like at camp with their stuff there. Like, I bet it's weird.
man.
I just have to think it's weird.
It's a compound. It's not a house.
It's a rite of passage, man. Look at Dan Bailey. He got the freaking best score on 14.1.
I think that has to do with the fact that he's 3 feet tall, and not the fact that he lived in Rich's basement.
Whenever
creepily
Dan
for
Bailey
4
holds
years.
whenever Dan Bailey holds his arm up above his head, do you think his elbow is below his ear or above it?
I think his elbow is below his shoulder. That's his lockout. I don't know how he locks a bar out above his head. It's immaculate.
Do you think they make forts? Do you think they made forts together?
Absolutely.
With
sheet
like
forts?
sheets? Yeah, sheet forts.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, better
And
question.
then they hid from Dave Castro and CrossFit Media when they tried to come over for interviews.
You can't come in here, Savon. Savon, you can't come in here. This is my safe place.
No
What-
cooties allowed, Savon.
What was Rich's pet name for Dan Bailey?
B-Bubs.
Baleful? Come here, Baleful. Forrest is so stumped.
There's just too many thoughts.
Okay,
My first
hey,
thought was D-bag. I was going to
You're
be
right.
calling it D-bag.
You're right. You're right. Let's
D-bag. Let's
Let's
go do
move
a
on.
wad.
Let's move on. Okay, so hopefully we can get Rich to hollow back at Dmitry Klokov for the 225 full snatch.
Just
Isabel.
Before we get off this topic, one quick question for you guys. Were you guys not surprised that, like, Rich, Webb, whoever, nobody said any? I never noticed anything about it.
Yeah, because
It could have been. It could have been fun. Like, they could have had some fun with that.
So Webb Smith, right? It is Smith.
Yes.
No, wait. No. Is it Smith?
I believe it is, yeah.
Because
It doesn't matter. Nobody listens to our podcast.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, we don't have any fact checkers at the
There's
podcast.
no fact checking on this.
His
no.
actual last name is Autobot. Webb Autobot.
So Webb is Rich's. What would you call him? Just a PR manager, I guess, or
marketing
If we
executive.
could call it that. I mean, good Lord, really. But yeah, manager, PR guy, whatever you want to call
He's
it.
like our Caleb, so he's a salesman. That's what
he's in sales. He sells,
He sells
Twitter
people.
Sells
followers.
rich.
Human trafficking.
Very
So-
nice, Taylor.
So Forrest is asking the rest of the Teacuppers, do we think that Webb said to Rich? Okay, so Dimitri posted that picture on Instagram, pick stitched it, all that stuff, tagged CrossFit, Rich Froning, all of it, and then Rich, as far as we know, said nothing back. Did Webb say to Rich, "Hey, don't get that started right now. There's already a lot of tension between the East and the West." Like, what do you think, Taylor?
I mean, I think they said don't do it, but I think it was more because they probably said, "Hey, Rich, focus on the open. 1, Dan Bailey just beat you on 14.1. 2,
Taylor, just stop. Seriously, focus on the open. Focus on the open, Rich. You need to do well.
Hey, at the end of the day, he's the CrossFit Games champion, and they probably said, "Don't. This doesn't need to be a distraction. Like we're, as a
he's not
group,
gonna
we're
win.
trying to
I
focus
mean,
on the open." I'll be
no,
honest.
no.
What do you think they said? They said
Just
no.
lie to me.
Go
Lie to me.
throw this out there and screw up your training and go do 225 Isabel as many times as it takes to beat Klokov because that really fucking matters. That's what they
Dude,
said
he's
for us.
doing 8 wads a day. He can sneak it in
Seriously.
somewhere.
You're going to tell me that he doesn't probably do Isabel like once every 2 weeks, 225 Isabel, just to like see where he's at? Like, I don't know,
I don't think he does actually for us. I think he does EMOMs.
Rich
a lot.
Froning doesn't program. He just does whatever comes to mind, though.
That's. I think that was a conversation that we also wanted to talk about.
We're going to
today.
save that for another podcast.
Whatever comes to Jason Khalipa's mind is what
He will
Rich does.
draw it on a piece of paper.
I
and
think
Rich
you're
Froning will do
making
it.
a huge assumption there in saying that something comes to Jason Khalipa's mind.
That's a big leap.
I don't know. I'm very surprised by it, and I guess it's all just hypothetical for us to say anything. But I mean, like that.
Hey,
who-
it's the
who
same
is-
thing as when
who is Rich Froning?
Is when
Who
Kendrick
is Rich
said-
Froning?
It's the same
Like-
thing as when Kendrick called out Liu Xiaozhen. Liu Xiaozhen didn't give a shit. Klokov calls out Rich Froning. Rich Froning doesn't give a shit because Klokov's not even signed up for CrossFit. He's not even a CrossFitter. Who cares?
Now that's what I want to hear you say, because that's fair enough. Like that's what I in my head imagine, like Klokov or Rich Froning or who they're just like, F it, I don't care.
Okay, listen, we're at 50. We're coming up on 59 minutes. I don't want this to run too far over an hour for the thousands of listeners at home. So
I've got some sausages waiting for me for lunch that I need to eat. So they're cold now. I'm not happy about it.
So here, I'm just going to say this. This is all we're going to say about the Open. None of you are allowed to say anything about the Open after I finish this. We're in the middle of week 2, 14.2, the overhead squat and chest to bar ladder, if you will. We've had some people drop out of the Open that have put up some questionable scores in the past. Now that there's this video rule, they're not putting up as good of scores as they have in the past. We wonder if there's something to that. We'll let the people at home decide. What I want to know, and I'm going to start with Forrest because he doesn't want to talk about this. What I want to know is, Forrest, recently there was a transgender, a male had a sex change and is now a female, and CrossFit would not let her sign up for the CrossFit Open as a female, and now she is suing for $2.5 million. What are your thoughts on that, Forrest?
I'm going to pass because I just got to prepare myself for what I'm about to say. So, Caleb, I'm going to pass to you first.
I love it so much. It's the dumbest thing that I've ever heard of. Like, where do you get $2.5 million? Like, how are you?
Wait, back up. That's the amount that she's suing for in damages, by the way.
Yeah. And you arrive at that. I mean, that's a very simple calculation. The Open costs $20, so multiply your entry fee by 1.25 million, and that's how you arrive at 25 million.
I actually spoke to a local sex change surgeon, and he said $2.5 million was the going rate for a sex change operation. So
okay, all right. Well, that it all makes sense. You helped me connect the dots. Thank you. The only thing stupider than this is the article that I read from Medium.com about their response. I'm happy that CrossFit took their staunch opposition to this and the way they did. If you want to be transgender, be transgender. If you want to be whatever you want to be, go do it. That's fine. But the fact that you were a man and you're trying to be a woman, if you want to do that, that's okay. But you can't ignore how you were born and try. Well, first of all, CrossFit can do whatever the hell they want. So they make the rules.
Thank you.
And that's what it really boils down to. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
How about you just give them their $20 back and be done with it? How about that?
Taylor? Well, actually, hey, Taylor, let me go ahead and speak because I'm going to say some stuff. And honestly,
I'll just try to clean up after you're done.
Yeah, you're our law man. But no, I want to know kind of some things from a law standpoint. So if I speak incorrectly, like Caleb was saying, Big CrossFit, Big CF owns Little CF, and they can make the rules. It's their product. Nobody can tell them who they have to include in a competition. Correct? Am I correct in saying that?
Well,
I mean, to a certain point, they can't say like no
100%.
women. They can't say no women allowed. That would be a sexist thing, and there are certain laws against that. But they do have the right to.
I think it's definitely a gray area, but you have to read the CrossFit rules and everything. But since it's all kind of a private enterprise and you're competing, sports generally, the law is kind of like, hey, these are the rules of the sport. This is what the sport's governing body says. That's the sport. There's not really a whole lot of remedies at law for this sort of situation. Typically, now I don't know. There could be a lot more details that I have not looked at. Because to be perfectly honest with you guys, I haven't looked too deeply into this because, frankly, I think it's stupid and a waste of everyone's time and attention. But yeah, typically a court's going to be like, hey, you want to do this, you got to follow their rules. That's just the way it is.
My second question would be, do you think Webb told Rich to not focus on this and focus on the Open?
I'm going to answer your question with another question, Forrest. This is going to be directed at Grant. Grant, should I break up my pull-ups on 14.2 or just go for unbroken like Camille?
Listen, you may be 240 pounds of man.
I could be 290 by now. I don't know.
But there's one thing that you have, and that's unbroken chest to bar pull-ups. Use that. Break up your overhead squats.
But stay unbroken on the pull-ups. Got it.
All day.
Can I say something else real fast?
I would love for you to.
We've been waiting all podcast for you to say something. You're the driver of the whole energy, man, and you've been slacking all day.
How dumb is this? How dumb is some stupid man or woman who obviously just
That was so politically correct of
yeah,
you,
well,
man or woman.
I'm gonna try to be politically correct, but God, if Maxie ever hears this podcast or any of her family, I'm never gonna hear the end of it. It's so stupid that somebody has this dream, which is totally fine. They want to be another gender. Go do that. That's your right. But damn it, why do you sue somebody who just why do you sue somebody who has their own thing going? Like, listen, I ate mock chicken salad from Earth Fare for like a year and didn't realize that mock meant that it wasn't chicken. It was soy chicken. I was an emotional.
What does that have to do with anything?
Let him finish.
I was emotionally in a very bad place, and little did I know that I was eating soy chicken and getting estrogen. And I never once tried to sign up for the female CrossFit Games afterwards. I don't know. I'm at a loss.
Should all vegetarians, by that rationale, be allowed to compete as female athletes?
No, because well, I mean, yeah, they probably do eat like some soy stuff, but no. I'm sorry. This is so stupid that this person is even allowed to just bring this lawsuit out, because it's so dumb and it's just negative publicity for CrossFit. This is what CNN had this on the front page, and this is exactly what CNN wants, because they just blasted the heck out of the Ogar situation and were like, oh my gosh, CrossFit dangerous. Yeah. So I'm just going to say that it's stupid. It's dumb that CNN or Fox News or whoever wants to promote this kind of stuff, because it's a waste of time. I'm going to pass it on to Grant.
It is silly. I will agree. I think our good friend Kevin Lowe down in Alabama said it best when he said that he identifies as a 57-year-old male, and he's going to sue CrossFit for not allowing him to compete in the Masters division. So it's just ridiculous is all it is. I don't think we have anything else to say about it. Anyone? Caleb? Taylor?
I think the only reason you're seeing it on all these news sources is because it's kind of a journalist's wet dream to find something like this where it's like, ooh, CrossFit, evil, bad corporation fighting for the rights of, the minority. Like that's kind of what modern day journalism has become. But yeah, I think that's the only reason it's getting any publicity.
Well, heaven forbid that journalists help the oppressed, Caleb.
It fits into that narrative. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, we're an hour plus, so I want to wrap it up. So, Forrest, do you have anything to say to the 3 listeners at home that are listening to hear you?
I'm very upset with the Open this year, because I just found out that my favorite athlete, Matt Baird, was not going to be competing. Hey, Matt, I hope you heal up, man. I hope you get healthy for the Open next year, and I'll be waiting.
Hey, Forrest, you always have Sam Dancer, maybe. You always have Sam Dancer.
You know what the best part is, though?
I don't.
Sam Dancer films his stuff.
Forrest, I want you to know that Heather Phipps said, quote, this morning, quote,
God, is she going to say something about the 49ers game again?
No, she said, quote, I didn't know Forrest was such an asshole, end quote.
How has she made it this long without knowing that?
Dude, this is bullcrap. She just hates me. She
Forrest,
hates me because if the 49ers would have won and I would have teabagged Joey Maker, whatever his little stupid last name is, I hate you, Colin Kaepernick, then she would have gotten to see the good side of me. But Boner Nick decided he wanted to throw the game, and yeah, she got to see the bad side of me.
Forrest, honestly,
shut up. Jay Cutler's your quarterback.
No, he's your bodybuilding friend. Seriously, though, you have, of all the people I know, your soul is probably the second blackest after mine that I know. And how you've been able to hide this from people, I assume you just don't talk to people. That's the only thing I can assume.
Fact.
That's actually what Phipps said this morning, is she was like, Forrest is always so quiet and kind of subdued, but then...
So in his heart, he's just thinking hate.
Oh
hate.
Yeah. Well, no. What I told Heather was, listen to the first 3 episodes, and you won't hear Forrest talk at all. He's fulfilling his quiet Forrest kind of idea that she had of him. It's not until now
with booze and strippers, and then he's let loose.
Yeah, exactly.
Pole dancing, no problem.
All right, Taylor. I hope that it stays cold in Chicago until the next time we talk.
Oh, well, go fuck yourself and enjoy that 70-degree weather, you prick.
I'm going to get outside with my shirt off and get some vitamin D. And Caleb's not going to be drinking.
Nope.
All right, so text me a pic of that, of you not drinking. I want to see it.
I will. I'll Instagram it.
Yeah,
Just gonna say.
Instagram or bust.
Instagram to his with thousands of followers, which include the Barnes brothers and
Hey, for the record,
Klokov
Darren Barnes is like my 5th follower, by the way.
Boom.
So
Could you tag me in that, please, so I may see?
I will.
how can I tag you and what?
Yeah, no.
Again, folks, Taylor is not the best.
I can tag you in something that someone's my follower. Like, I don't know how to do that.
Get Barbara to show you how to tag, Taylor. Your mom can probably show you.
Yeah, she's got an iPad and stuff, and I don't know what that is. So, we'll figure it out
Before
on my
we
end.
continue on, we're gonna wrap it up here, even though that's what Teacuppers normally don't do. So with that being said,
Teabaggers.
I mean that's why Forrest has so many kids running around out there. But all right, until next week, guys. I will.
Bye-bye.
Going raw since 2012.